seeker, whether it's a devotee, whether it's a brahmacharini or sannyasi, any of this who are here to be with the master, and they are asking a lot of questions on the path of enlightenment. So a visitor asked Swamiji, say, I have heard you speak a lot about surrender. Could you please tell me exactly what you mean by surrender? I think many of us, have the same kind of burning question. What is surrender? A lot of things that we understood from society as surrender, give up everything. No. So let's understand from Swamiji's perspective, or say the spiritual perspective, what is the true meaning of surrender. You just went live?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. See, he said, the answer to this question, please provide listening, because this is going to, if you are in the space of listening, the answer he gives you will directly enter into your being. So listen, because we are also a seeker, he is now giving the answer to all of us. So please listen, okay? He said, being a disciple is surrender, nothing more. Being a disciple. There's a difference between a devotee and a disciple, okay? A devotee is come here to enjoy the guru and, be with the guru and just enjoy. A disciple goes a step deeper by taking on the responsibility of the guru's mission. That is the main difference between a devotee and a disciple. So he said, when you decide to become a disciple, it means you're ready to surrender, because a disciple is about surrender, nothing more. It means that you no longer resist. You simply let go. Unnecessary time is wasted when you resist. So it is as if you have gone to a hospital and you yourself are resisting the doctor who's going to fix your problem. You tell the doctor, I'm here, I'm in pain, but I don't want you to treat me. So that is the confusion and the funny situation. You want a relief from a doctor, but the doctor is there and you tell him, I don't want you to help me. So this is similar to this situation. The tumor that we're carrying is the ego, and you coming to the guru or the master is the master surgeon trying to remove your ego, but you're telling him, I don't want you to treat me, I don't want you to remove my ego. So there's the game between the master and the disciple. Understand? So this is a surgery. A surgery means what? You must have full trust in the master, because only then, anything can be done. But he will never start the operation unless you are ready. When he sees that you are ready with trust, he starts the surgery, he starts the operation. And it is a beautiful surgery. There may be pain because your ego is leaving you. And your ego is what you have known yourself to be for many, many, many births and janma. But if you remain trusting the master, your ego will simply leave you. All the energy which you have wasted all this time in the head is now moved towards the source, towards its source, back to the center, your being. So this is the answer he gives to this seeker, the one who asked what is surrender. Okay, so this seeker, next slide, he went on to ask again, but I still don't understand. I still think I don't understand. I understand what surrender means. He's still not able to grasp it. How do I know if I have surrendered or not? Which is a very valid question. Some people say, I surrender to you, but in the heart they never surrender. They just lip service only, right? So Swamiji go on to explain, to let you know whether you have surrendered or not. This is the gauge. So listen again carefully, because he's speaking into our being. He says, you must simply experience it, not by lip service. You experiencing it is a gauge whether you have surrendered. Only then you will know, only then you will understand. So experience. It's like this. You have never tasted sugar, right? And if you come to ask Swamiji and say, what sugar tastes like? All Swamiji can tell you is, it is sweet. But will you understand what sweet is if you haven't tasted sugar yourself? Obviously not. No way. So you must taste and experience it for yourself. If you are receptive with deep trust, it is more than enough for him to give you the experience. The surrender will happen on its own. This is because surrender is nothing but trust and deep love. Understand? Surrender equals trust plus deep love. This is the equation. Surrender equals give you trust plus the surrender will happen love on its own. Okay? When you have deep love for the Guru and deep love for yourself, you have trust and you will experience surrender. Surrender just happen by that two qualities that you're holding, that you're carrying, that you're radiating. Got it? Thumbs up? No, everybody. I need to make sure you guys caught it, and then we. So now, Somja answered this very, a very, I would say, a visitor who is asking at a very superficial level of the meaning of surrender. So now, Somji goes on to explain a deeper level of surrender. So let's go into the next slide. So again, provide listening here. You'll see the slide because too many important messages, so I wanted you to basically see the slide while I'm explaining. So he said, actually, the master is just a channel. Your being yearns to surrender itself to its source. That is the cosmos. Because we came from the cosmos. We came from the same source, right? The God particle in us is the same source. But it is difficult because the cosmos is too abstract, it's formless. And the minds come in the way. You already form an idea about this body-mind. And so this is where the obstacles in experiencing, that connection, the surrender. So the master is nothing but a manifestation of the cosmos. He has come down, assume a human body so that you can see his form and then learn how to surrender to the form because we are already in form. The master is a small window through which you can see the vast sky, the whole entire cosmos. He is the path to the cosmos. He is the one who is going to lead you home. He is the one who is going to guide you home. And if you first surrender to a form, which you can see, touch, and relate over time, you will be easy to surrender to the formless, which is what the Guru is. He is formless. But now he has assumed a form so that you can relate, because we're in form. At the more basic level, at the initial level, you need a form, okay? So to be a disciple means to surrender, as he said earlier. In the beginning, you surrender to the master, then to the cosmos or the existence, which is the formless. It is like this. The river must flow towards the ocean, right, to merge with the ocean. For this, it has to flow with the current. The current is flowing. It cannot flow against the current. When you're fighting against the current, this is where you fight with the master. And only when it reaches the ocean has it merged with its source, has it really found its reality, has it really discovered who he is or who she is. So understand, only when you have lost yourself into the source, you have found yourself. You need to lose yourself completely. But right now, you're holding on to this pseudo-identity. You don't want to let go. So the master is the current. He's pulling you. He's drawing you so that you can eventually reach your own source. Okay? Next slide. So you see, as of now, you believe in your ego, right? Because this is what you have been living with it for your entire life here. You start believing you're the ego. It is only in surrender that you come to know who you really are. Without the surrender, you will continue to think that you're this body mind. So surrender means surrendering the ego, or your falsity. Falsity means your inauthenticity or or the thing that is not the reality. So your ego is the base for all the falsity in you. When I say falsity, I mean all the thoughts in you that delude you into thinking that you are separate from the cosmos. The separation is created when you don't feel that you're one with the cosmos. You're not in that oneness. So once the ego is surrendered, your reality starts rising. Understand, it is your ego that is the core of all falsity. How inauthentic you become, how you try to escape, how all this kind of cunningness comes from this ego. So it exists in your head. It's your cunning mind, the mind that's making you manipulative, try to create all this falsity just to cover up your this inauthenticity. So, but your reality, your being exists within every cell of your body. Your being can never lie because your head is societal. Your head is basically your mind is conditioned by the society, but your body is natural. Your body is an independent intelligence that responds to the cosmos. That's why in yoga, we work with the body first. We never work with the mind because the mind is too cunning. So working with the body is indirectly working with the mind because body and mind are two sides of the same coin. Please tell me exactly what. Because the body is intelligence, it is easier to work with the body than directly with the mind. So that's why yogi has much more success than like a pandit who just chew on concepts and truth. Next, they never create experience. Next slide. So, and it is the reason why the master-disciple relationship is the deepest. I think in the earlier session we talked why this relationship is so deep. It is at the being level. Even lovers are not so close. They cannot be because lovers are attracted by each other's egos to begin with, right? You see someone's attracted, you start forming certain fantasy about the other person. So even they come together is because of ego. So the very nature of the ego is domination. You want to dominate the other person. You want to possess the other person. So in that possessiveness, what will happen, Obviously, conflict. Obviously, pain, suffering, hurt is going to be the outcome of that kind of relationship, right? It is not coming from the pure space of completion. It is out of ego. I want to possess you. I want to own you, your mind, that kind of thing. So that's why in all this kind of even lovers or relationship, it is coming from the same conditioning by the ego. Okay? So actually, if you see the relationship between the master and the disciple is only one where there is no domination, where there is a voluntary surrender. It is the only relationship where one surrenders everything that he has ever known, all forms of ego. The disciple's very core becomes trust. So every pore in the disciple vibrates with love. This is the beauty of it. So when you start surrendering, your very core just radiates so much love. And in that radiating the unconditional comes the beauty and the grace. So by love, I do not mean the love which we all have experienced in a regular human relationship. It is the kind of love where nothing is felt. Neither hate nor love, neither greed nor jealousy, just a surrender, a kind of surrender. Only when you don't feel anything at all can you really love. Understand? You don't feel anything at all, can you really love? Real love happens only after surrender. If you have not surrendered, be very clear, your love is still conditioned, superficial. Next slide. So, as I said, somebody said before, it will be difficult for you to surrender to existence because there's no form. It's just a pure supreme intelligence. If I tell you to surrender to the sky, you may find it difficult. How to surrender to the sky? I stare at the sky, how to surrender. So when you surrender to a master's form, it is easier. He said, I'm a device for you to surrender. I'm a pure device because the master is nothing but a pure channel through which existential energy flows all the time. He has already surrendered. So he's just flowing in oneness with existence. So he said, my form is available for those who feel the need to sit at the master's feet and leave their ego. Let it be very clear. You may see my feet, but there's nothing inside. You may see my form, but there's nothing inside it. My form is just a hollow channel for existence to flow. Whether you surrender to my form or you surrender to the sky makes no real difference. Understand, Paul, you asked this question in the last session. Remember, you say, in my presence, feel my absence. This is what I meant. I say that you have to experience, even in his presence, he is hollow because he is just flowing through the existential energy. Got it? So even in his absence, you experience his presence. So that is the two-dimensional aspect of, enlightened being. Okay? Next slide. So as of now, you're doing the opposite. We're all doing the opposite. Instead of surrendering the ego to him, to the guru, master, you're surrendered to the ego itself. You run with the ego. So when you come to, a master, all sorts of things will be clouding your mind. Your ego will tell you that you're losing your freedom. And this type of thing is not for you. You just show the red card, run. And it's your ego that has stripped you of your freedom. It's the ego who make you feel caged and suffocated. But you're trusting that ego, which is coming and telling you that you have no freedom. So your ego is trying to delude you. It is only because you continue to be in the mind's boundary, that means centered in the mental level, within the ego's game, that you are stuck. When you're stuck because your mind caught hold of you and give you that falsity, that ignorance, the darkness, that you are not able to see the light. Okay, so that's why a guru, a master, he's the light to shine through so that you can start seeing your ignorance. So basically, Swamiji said, I'm an excuse for you to drop the ego. It is not that you are going to surrender to me, this 6-foot form. And what will I do? When you have so many ego, you surrender to me, what is he going to do? He said, I'm simply the object to which you surrender. That's all. The point is your act of surrender, not me. The act of surrender, once said that even you surrender to a tree or a stone, the whole surrender is what is needed. If you can surrender to Ganga, you can surrender to a tree or a deity. The act of surrendering is all matters. If you cannot surrender to a master, for instance, or let's say someone don't have a master but they surrender to the nature, it is still surrender. Understand? Next slide. So only when you drop the ego will you realize that you have not dropped anything. It is your ego which has dropped you. Then all the conditioning that you've been carrying on, you accumulated all this while, just totally disappear. You come to know yourself. You just realize who you are. That's self-realization. The problem is that the ego, the mind, thinks that it is very, very intelligent. It will go on telling you some nonsense, okay? Nonsensical thing that make you believe. And because you have surrendered to that ego, your trust is so-called guidance, okay? So the master will quickly help you overcome this binding to your mind. So the master is the one who crack the coconut and break this binding relationship you carry with your mind, okay? So he's the one that chisel the ego and break the coconut. Next slide. So here's a story, a fascinating story, okay? So listen, two ditch digger, okay? Someone who dig the ditch, okay? So it said, there were two guys digging a ditch on a very hot day. So the first guy said to the second guy, hey, why are we down here doing this whole digging a ditch when our boss is standing up there under the shade of the tree. Why are we so foolish? Why he is enjoying the shade and we are, under the hot sun? So the second person said, I don't know. Let me go and ask him. So he climbed out of the hole and went to his boss and said, why are we digging this under this hot sun and you are simply standing under the shade? He asked. The boss replied, intelligence. What do you mean by intelligence? So the guy asked him. The boss said, well, let me show you. I will show you what I mean. So I will put my hand on this tree and I want you to hit it with your fist as hard as you can. Okay? I will show you what is intelligence. He said, this is my hand. You hit as hard as you can on my hand, okay, on my fist. So the ditch digger took a mighty swing and tried to hit his hand. Okay? Obviously, the boss removed the hand and the ditch digger hit the tree and he's in pain, obviously, right? So the boy said, that is intelligence. So the ditch digger went back to the hole and to the first guy. His friend asked, so what did he say? He said, he said that we are down here because of intelligence. So the first guy asked, hey, what is intelligence? Then he said, okay, let me show you. He said, I put your hand on your face. You try to use your shovel and hit my hand. So you can imagine when the guy tried to hit the friend's hand, he will hit his own face, right? So, so when you're without the intelligence, you will hit yourself. Same thing, when you don't have the intelligence, you will just be fooled by your ego. Next slide. So he said, catch the truth. This is the truth. Please catch it, okay? He said, this is exactly the way in which we're living. You catch the words and miss the truth. You always understand the truth as something else. When you misunderstand, you miss the whole thing. And the master's job is to keep on trying to make you understand the exact meaning of the truth. That's why Swamiji say, I'm speaking the truth how many thousand times in different ways so that we all catch it. But somehow we still cannot catch it. So he had to continue to repeat again and again and again till we catch it, okay? At some point in time. You see, I'm preparing the people who are living around me for many, many things. Especially you talk about the people, the sannyasis or the Adivasis who live around him. The experience will come. It has to come, but it will not be too much for them to handle. It will be too much for them to handle when it comes, unless they start surrendering now to me. Okay? Their bodies will not be able to handle whatever is to come unless the surrendering starts now. Understand? It's just like how he's putting fire on, us to do, whether it's embracing the AI or doing some temple, upgrades and things like that. All kinds of seva that he's putting on. So if there is no surrender, you will run away. I'm telling you. The first thing you want is, this is so suffocating. This is too much. It's like boiling you. It's like putting a fire on your backside and you're running. And you feel so much that you want to run away. This is what is happening. So I'm not saying that the experience will only come to those who are around me. He said, it's not true that you need to be around him in order for the experience to come. No, he said, I'm only saying that when you are around a master, the experiencing starts happening and you need to get prepared for it. Living around a master, that means, okay, not physically living, but when you have him as a guru, okay, that is the only reason why I talk so much on surrender. Next slide. So if a person can surrender, then whatsoever happens, he will be able to handle, which is true. Even if the whole world falls apart, he remains centered within himself because he has surrendered everything. There's nothing, no investment in the inner world or the outer world to lose. So when I say outer world, I mean the attachment you have in the outer world, worldly things, right? The attachment in the possession, in name and fame, in the outer worldly things. So you always fear losing outer worldly things only because you have attachment to them. When you don't have the attachment, you are not disturbed when you lose anything in the outer world. So what is taken away, I recreate again. That's fine. I have nothing to lose. It's no big deal. I enjoy, but I'm not attached to it. It's just like, You enjoy, but you're not attached to it. When it's taken away, you don't feel the pain. Okay, if I need, I recreate again. That is surrender. Understand? Next slide. So now comes the second question by another seeker. So listen, he said, a brahmachari confessed to Swamiji, I feel like I'm doing the complete opposite of what you tell me to do, and I feel uneasy. So that's what, this, brahmachari's confession to the master. So provide your listening what Swamiji's answer to this seeker. So I hope you guys are trekking along with me. Yes, give me a thumbs up. You're trekking along with me. Okay, good. So here comes the answer to this seeker number 2. He said, you see, it sometimes happens like this. If you feel happy doing the opposite, simply do the opposite. What else can be done? You want to do, go and do it, okay? I give you some instruction for you to find bliss. The whole focus is on finding your inner bliss. If you are feeling blissful by doing the opposite, what can I say? Then continue. This is what he said to that brahmachari. The problem starts when you begin to feel some tension in you. You feel uneasy. You see, tension is followed by anxiety. When you feel the tension, the next thing that follows is you feel anxious. Anxiety attack starts. Okay, so tension is the trigger. Anxiety is the state that follows. So people who feel anxious, getting an anxiety attacks as one of the psychological disorder. Be very clear. You're carrying certain tension. You need to go and deep. What is the tension that you're holding? What's the tension that you're creating within you that is not able to make you feel at ease or at peace with yourself? So tension serves as an indicator for anxiety to happen, to come. So if you are in some, if you are feeling some tension, then be very clear that you are moving in the wrong direction. As long as you are happy, you continue to do the opposite, that's fine. Once tension starts, know for yourself that you're moving in the wrong direction. So this is the gauge. Are you feeling tension inside? Or are you feeling at ease with what you're doing? By doing the opposite. If you feel the tension, then you have gone in the wrong direction. Okay, so this is the gauge. So Swamiji continued, he said, I don't mean that you will only feel tension when you do not follow me. See, when I give you some instruction, I sense your energy, and based on that, I give you the instruction. I see what will move you from where you're stuck and give you an instruction for that. This is how a master works. Before he gives you instruction, he will see where you're stuck in your ego, and then he'll give the direct instruction. That is why for the same situation, for the same question, for the same problem, I give different instructions to different people, because the instruction is for the individual to move from where he's stuck, and different people are stuck at different places, at different level. Even same person may be stuck in relationship or marriage. The instruction will be different. Understand? So, because each person is stuck at different level, maybe different karma or different mental set or patterns. So when I give you an instruction, it is best for you. It is for you alone. You don't wish to follow it because your ego tells you something else, something different. Then a time comes when you start feeling uneasy. Then you start thinking that maybe you should have followed what the master said or what he said. So it is all right. Take your time. So see, a master is forever compassionate. He just wait. If you're not ready to follow the instruction now, he will wait. He will wait till you're ready. I remember when he told me to write a book, okay, about my cancer experience, how he healed my stage 3 cervic cancer. When I said, no, Swamiji, I'm not a good writer. I've never been trained as a writer. How can you expect me to write a book? So in my idea, I was conditioned by society that to be a book writer, how you read Annie Python and all in your childhood, you write, wow, this person can be such a great storyteller, you write with such a flair. Then, so my idea was that I need to be like this, but I never trained formally as a writer, and my English is just maybe slightly above average. It's not like some kind of, where I'm brought up by some, brought in an English speaking environment where I get the kind of training to express myself very fluent in a lot of bombastic words. I'm not trained that way. So my idea is that I'm stuck by society. That's like, I can't write a book, so I resisted. No, I don't want to write. I won't write. So after a while, I surrendered. Okay, I will write. Okay, you win, I write. So when I finally wrote the book, I tell you, at the end of the whole experience, I cognize a few things. One, you don't need to be a great writer to write. If you write from your heart, there will be an audience for it, because people can relate with the space that you're writing. So that is what matters. And the knowledge you're sharing, the experiences you're sharing, that really matters. So that was one thing. And at the end of the day, he just waited. When he told me the idea to write, I was like, no. Initial, the mind will jump and say, no, I cannot write because of all this XYZ reason. So when the moment I surrender, okay, I'll write. And the whole thing will just flow. When I sit in the morning, I would just get downloaded how I should organize, what should I tell in this book. So it's just like an ongoing entanglement in a very different space with him, and he's guiding in that in the meditative state. So slowly, piece by piece, the whole book got written. This is how, by surrendering only, the thing happened. Otherwise, I say, no, I don't want to write. How to write the book? So he's fundamentally, when he gives you the instruction, he's only writing through this body. He's the one writing it. Okay, so that is my personal experience. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to share that. So now the next part. So be very clear, I'm not here to force any ideology on you. I'm here to take all the ideology that you're carrying, take all the ideology away from you. And when you have given up everything, you will find yourself. Understand one thing, the very nature of the mind is to put you in confusion. The mind is always confusing. Its nature is dilemma, it makes you feel stuck. So if you simply run behind the mind, whatever it says, you will now understand what will happen, right? You're stuck, you're confused, you're going in circle. So listen with your being. Do not bring in the mind at all. The mind is not any way connected to the heart. The mind revolves around logic, which is what society taught us. But the heart is completely different. It revolves around love. It has nothing to do with the logic, only emotion. That is why when I say listen to the heart, do only that. Do not bring in your mind at all. To tell you honestly, listening to your heart is the greatest obedience. Whenever your mind tells you to do something, simply look within yourself and see if your heart is open to the idea. When you are doing something, listen to your heart. Do not bring in the mind at all. This is instruction. When you need to use the mind, use it only then for planning, so to plan what you need to do step by step. But otherwise, just use your logic only for that planning, and then listen to them. Only then you listen to the mind. Use it as a tool. Understand? What happened? Wait.
Maybe it goes into
Safe mode. Wait, I cannot see. Can you control? Sorry, there's the thing.
it should not affect them. Yeah, we still
Yeah, they can still see. You can still see the slide, ma?
slide.
Can you still see the slide on the screen? No. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You need to. Sorry, I think this the thing is gone. Okay, come. So listen. So he says one more thing. You should learn the art of listening. Now that you will be thinking, then what am I doing here now? I'm sitting and listening to you for such a long time. Say, no, you're simply hearing my words. Hearing is different from listening. They may have the same meaning in the dictionary, but in reality, they are completely opposite. So hearing is of the mind. It is totally intellectual. You will hear my words, you'll follow them, but there's no juice in it. You will miss the whole thing. There is no deep feeling involved here when you are hearing. But listening is different. If you're listening to me, you're not merely listening to the words which were uttered by him. You are allowing the sound to penetrate your being. My words penetrate you like energy. Understand? When this happens, the words do not simply enter the head and stay there. It reaches your very being. They reach your inner space, and I talk to your being, not your head, not to your head. So you simply cannot listen with your head. When a master talks, listen with your very being. His words are the sure energy that can penetrate you at the being level and transform you in ways you cannot even imagine. So he said another thing, as I told you earlier, I will tell people different things at different time. What I say to you and what I say to someone else may be completely different from one another. But what do you fellas do? You sit and discuss what I say to each one of you and confuse yourself. I will tell you to go left and tell the other guy to go right. And somehow the work will get done. But what happens is when you discuss it, only confusion. So understand, it is better you don't analyze or discuss the instruction given to you. Understand? If it's given to you, it is for you only. Don't go and compare with another person. Next slide. So here's another small incident that happened in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so listen. Swami Vivekananda was sitting on the banks of the holy river Ganga with his disciple who was pressing his feet. So a so-called Vedantist, a scholar, came and started flaunting his knowledge in front of this Swami Vivekananda. He talks all sort of philosophy and brag to the master that he bathes in the Ganga every day and therefore he's very spiritual and whatnot. So he's just showing off basically. So Vivekananda replied, there are so many fish in the Ganga river that swim every day as well. Does it mean that they are all big scholars? Does it mean that they are very holy? Simply go into the world and live your life. Learn something there. Don't be stuck in these stupid philosophies. So this Vedantist was simply shocked. When he heard this, like big slap from the master is like knock him out. He turned and quickly ran away as fast as he could. Okay, so this was the first fella. Next slide. So after some time, a young college student passed by, right, and was very excited to see Vivekananda. He approached him and said, I've heard you are a great modern guru. You don't believe in all these useless rituals like taking bath in the Ganga every day and reading all the ancient scriptures. I completely agree with your ideology. I'm living happily in society without all these spiritual practices. Okay. Vivekananda looked at him and said, what are you talking about? It is only because of this Vedantic spiritual backbone that we have that you are able to live peacefully in society. Go back and learn more about spirituality and Vedanta. Bathe in the Ganga every day and cleanse yourself. Again, the young guy was shaken and simply ran away as well. See? Yeah, see, both ran away with the same act, but the truth he spoke to the person is different because the person is, each one of them is stuck in a different, understanding. Next slide. So this disciple, so after some time, okay, sorry. So both the Vedantis and the college guy got the lesson they needed, right? So, no. So basically, wait. Okay, so this young guy was shaken and ran away. Both the Vedantis and the college guy got the lesson they needed. But the disciple who was pressing the feet of the guru was totally confused. How come he speak one, this to this Vedantis and then to this college guy? It's like, it looks completely opposite. So he asked why he is making such contradictory statements to Vivekananda, saying one thing to one guy and a complete opposite to the other guy. So Vivekananda told him, what has to be told to each one a day, I've taken care of. For you, don't bother, just continue to press my feet. Surrender to me. That is your job as a disciple. Just press my feet. Next slide. So, when do you know surrender had happened? Okay, so this is the next thing. First step is surrender. By becoming a disciple, you're ready to surrender. After you have surrendered, presumably you have surrendered, how do you know you have surrendered? This is the next thing that Swamiji goes into a deeper understanding. See, to surrender is to become blind with love. Understand? Blind with love. You will not follow in which direction the master is taking you, yet you will trust that he will lead you down the path. This is because the master is the path for you, nothing more. You don't have agenda for yourself. The master becomes your agenda. That's why I say he's the only priority. There's no other priority in life. He's the only priority where you have happened, where you have come down. He's the only priority. See, when you put him in lower priority, which means you have not surrendered. Understand? When you surrender everything to him, he's the only priority. Your life only revolves around him. You live with his master, even though you're not physically with him. When this happens, he will ensure that you do not move off the path or go astray. He will keep you within his breathing space. So with me, I never make rules. I only give guidelines. I will tell you that something will be good for you so that you can explode in 360 degrees or direction or dimension. The decision is then yours. In the end, only you must decide. You need to take the jump. You need to do the action, make the decision. So surrendering is your choice. I'm not going to sit here and force you to surrender. A master never does that. Okay. What I can say that something will be good for you. I can say that you will experience a tremendous freedom when you let go the weight of your mind's emotion. When you let go, you've experienced that tremendous freedom. That's what he's going to give you, that understanding. But till you jump, you never taste that tremendous freedom. Okay, next slide. So, but in the end, it is your own choice. You can help yourself grow, or you can simply listen to your inner chatters, your mind, and go back to the same life that you were living, the same pain, suffering, driven by fear and greed. It is you who has come to me, understand? It is your own decision that makes you stay here or come to the Guru. A real disciple chooses to follow the master's word because he loves to do it, because he doesn't know any other way. He knows that he's the only one who's going to guide him. He doesn't care how to know if there's any other way. He loves the idea of following the master blindly with no idea of what might happen to him. That is why in which you guys are living around me, you keep yourself going only because your devotion and trust that you are with the Master. Understand? That is surrender. You know that He will take you to the next level. You just hang on to Him. That's what He described. Just hang on to the train, whether you are clinging onto the window pants or you are sitting in the train. Just hang on till you reach the destination. Next slide. So you have been obeying your parents, your friends, your relatives, your teachers, etc. all your life. Your parents will say something and you will obey. Your teachers will say something and you will follow them. But here I'm not saying something to you to obey. I'm saying it to make you understand. And with this understanding only, you simply find that you are transformed. Understanding is the important part of it. So it is only because of your surrender that you are with me. It is only because of your love that you enjoy the transformation. When a person surrenders, he doesn't do the work simply as work. He does it because he feels the Master's transforming fingers in the work, right? The invisible hand. That's what, a lot of us say. He's the undercurrent where all the things happen. His invisible hands. He enjoys the Masters through the work. Understand? This work is valuable only because of the love that is put into it. And not everyone gets an opportunity to do my work. He states very clearly. Those who have surrendered and simply do without any reason are the chosen ones who will carry my mission. That's why you see some people will only be devotee, come and join party with the Master, enjoy the darshan. But only the chosen ones will do his work, will be part of his mission, will carry his mission. That is the main difference. Okay? Only when you start surrendering, then you become part of the mission. Next slide. So people sometimes approach Swamiji and say they think they have surrendered, but they are not sure. See, he says surrender is the ultimate certainty. It is the clearest clarity. It's the ultimate clarity. You have really surrender only when you don't even have the idea that you have surrendered. There's nothing left in you because you have surrendered everything. Then even this idea of surrender would have left your system, okay? So only when you feel nothing but love and openness while sitting in front of the Master have you truly surrendered. And be very clear, if the thought comes, I have felt a lot of love towards the Master right now, I think I've surrendered. Be sure you have not surrendered at all. If this is the case, then it is only your mind which is playing the trick on you. Understand? Your mind is telling you that yes, surrender. But surrender happens only when the mind itself is surrender. Okay? So your surrender must be total. You cannot simply think you have surrendered. If there is a doubt, be very clear, you have not surrendered. It is yet to come. But if you have a deep seeking insight, it will happen at some point in time in the future when you got tired of your mind. You say, okay, enough, I don't want to play with this stupid mind. Then you're okay. You're ready to let go. Next slide. So also with the Master, things happen quite in contrast to what you might expect. Just see how things happen in the, in the ashram or in the Kailasa. Say, you may be doing something thinking that I will not enter that place for the next few hours. But what happens? Suddenly I will enter and you will be shocked. You get the shock of your life. So the Masters with the Master, expect only what can never be expected. This is the ultimate lifestyle, the most spontaneous way to live around him. This is what living in divinity is all about. Spontaneity, creativity. And there is no technique which you can practice to simply make surrender happen. There's no technique. It will only happen when the time is right. You cannot create it. You can only stop the stopping that is preventing it from happening. Okay? What we are doing now is stop the surrendering, but you can't create it. It has to happen when the time is right. Next slide. So he said, I tell you honestly, man has more capacity to destroy than to create, which is true. Look at majority of human beings, due to their ignorance, they're destroying themselves. Not only just the body, they're destroying the mind with some kind of psychological disorder, and then they're destroying their whole life. So this is because in man the ego is most prominent. But if you just look at small children, this will not be the case. Ego has not fully penetrated the small children. So just observe their play, the way they are playing. Look at a 2-year-old child. She will not destroy at all. She will go on creating something. Of course, children will also throw things in a fit, but their inherent nature will be to build, to create, to make things, create new things. This is why children are so interested in building blocks. They get a chance to create. They get a chance to express themselves. But there are a few things which, however much you try, you simply cannot create. For example, you cannot create love. It happens when it has to happen. You have to come to me. See, you have come to me after such a long time, after many, many births, after many, many janmas. You have seen the world and understood society. After all that, you have come to me, Swamiji is saying. Okay, he has come to a guru, a master. Now simply allow what has to happen to happen. Why are you in such a hurry? There's no need to think of the passing time or all such things, because you are with me now. Nothing else matters anymore. The day that you are completely unaware of what might happen, at the same time in a state of full awareness, he will come. He just said, just relax, let it happen in its own course. Next slide. Okay, so here he gives a deeper insight on surrender. The very idea of surrender has been misunderstood by common man. He said, we have thought that surrender is giving in. Oh, I surrender to you, I give in through an inevitable fight. We have to fight with ourselves and someday change. We have thought that we have to change our nature of the natural way of being. But if you see in reality, it is totally the opposite. Surrender itself means to be totally natural. This is the word he emphasized, totally natural. You give up all the nonsense which you have acquired through time. You simply throw all your falsity in the dustbin, that is surrender. Surrendering to the master means being fully relaxed in your being at peace, at ease with who you are. Whatever I tell you to do, even if it is the most illogical things, you will simply do in a relaxed way. Even if I tell you to walk on fire, you simply do it with a smile on your face. This has really happened. Okay, just ask the people who live around Swamiji in the ashram, the brahmacharis. He said for their diksha initiation, they are made to walk on red hot coal as meditation. It means fire walking. And you will be shocked, every single one who enter and come out laughing. They don't feel the burn or blisters. Can you even imagine walking on red hot charcoal in society? Instead of getting bliss, you get only nice blisters. I've seen huge blisters. So understand, it is surrender that gives you the power to do things which you can never imagine. Understand? See, if you have watched Taipusam, all these people who do all the body piercing and carry this, all this in possession. How is it possible? Only by surrender only, the whole divine energy takes over that mortal body and make you feel painless. That is only possible. Same way for fire walking. If you still carry the ego, you can't do fire walking. You only get blister. You won't get bliss. Next slide. So, actually, when you resist me, Swamiji said, you are creating a split within yourself. One side is wanting, the being wants to surrender, and the other side, your mind say no, 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 no. So this is like a split, the tug of war I call within you. One side is your heart telling you who want to be with the master. The other side is your mind who simply tell you to drop everything and run away from the master. So this is what is happening. when you have this resistance, okay? So fighting create duality within yourself. By fighting, you're going against everything that I'm teaching you. If you want to live with this fight, with this duality, then simply live with it and suffer. Okay, you won't suffer because this duality is where you are feeling this split. What else can be done? You must learn to look beyond this division that have been created by you. Only then will you find unity. You will find the wholeness back. With this unity or oneness, see, and this unity will not be forced at all. You will simply rise. It is like an orchestra. If you witness an orchestra playing, many different instruments will be playing, and with so many different sounds, right? Whether it's violin, whether it's piano, or someone is playing different instruments. But somehow in all the noise, there will be a central chord, a rhythm that comes together, become music. Okay. So in the same way, if you are aware of this division, unity will begin to happen. You understand all this fight, and you will understand there's a core of you. There's oneness. It's found when the unity is found in duality. It will be a much deeper level, and it cannot come by any effort. It only happens through deep relaxation within yourself. That's why you need to remove all the tension that one is carrying, whether it's physical tension, emotional tension, or mental tension. Only when you remove in all this tension, your true nature can be revealed to you. You can discover your true self. Understand? Remove all the tension. When you fall into Shanta, the inner peace, you will experience yourself. Next slide. So in the beginning, the so-called surrender that you feel is actually only honeymoon period. He called honeymoon period. It's not surrender at all. It is an excitement of the unknown, that is all. But you will soon settle down, and then the real work will start by the master. The operation will start. This has to happen to everyone. It is kind of falling in love with the master, but you mistake this feeling of excitement as surrender. It is only when this honeymoon period ends that you begin to rise in love with the master. It is only when you begin to rise in love with the master that you really start growing. Okay, the growth and expansion happen only when you rise in love with the master. So when you are in this initial phase, so-called honeymoon phase, the trust will not be total. It's pseudo trust. Trusting, in a very superficial way. You will go on doubting your own surrender, your own trust. Learn to just be, to just feel receptive, then things will simply happen. If you are patient, if you simply wait with all openness, just be patient and wait. This doubting attitude will disappear over a period of time. And if you are in a hurry, be clear, you have already missed. If you are impatient, you're saying, what's next? What's going on? So when you are chasing for results, some kind of outcome, you will have missed it. Okay, next slide. So he said, once you trust, once you surrender everything to the master, then even he disappear, you will feel that the master disappear. He said, as I said before, I'm just an excuse for you to surrender. The master is nothing but the form to which you surrender. So once you have surrendered, the master's form is no more of significance to you. Then there is only the emptiness. The emptiness is that energy. When this happens, you and I will be part of this bigger whole. It becomes a deep understanding. You all just fall back into that whole space. It is possible to surrender to the cosmos, but you will create many problems in the process. Surrender is like a waterfall, he said. He gives an analogy of the waterfall. It needs space, but you will only give a small, narrow entrance for it to happen. This narrow opening and this waterfall will continuously be fighting with each other. Then it is this narrow opening that will come to me and say, I'm not getting any experiences. What am I to do? These waterfalls want to come in. it is trying to push its way through, you're not giving space for the waterfall to enter. This is where the master come in. He is used as a representation of the cosmos. It is easier to surrender to something which you can relate to. It is easier to fall in tune with something which you can admire. You look at the master, you say, oh wow. So you can relate with the whole cosmic whole. You can admire the cosmic whole, but it will take time. Okay, so next slide. So the divine is continuously guiding us, but we never listen. This is the main problem. And the voice is small, very discreet, the inner voice. The quieter the mind gets, that's why every morning after yoga is to sit with yourself to listen to this inner voice. The louder the voice within becomes when you're quiet, when you're in a space of completion. It is continuously guiding you, telling you the way, but you do not listen. The noise in the mind is too loud that you can't hear the whisper of the divine. This is what is happening. Okay, so the divine guides does not lie outside of you. It lies within. That's why he say the only way out is in. Go inside to listen the whisper of the divine. Only a person who goes deep within uncovers the divine guide. As of now, it is covered by too much of your mind. Once you have uncovered this guide, this inner voice, everything that you do will be blissful. It has nothing to do with any increased morality. No, your being is by itself pure. Just that purity will come through, and whatever you do will simply be blissful. You're not going to try to create an emotion. The emotion will happen on its own. Okay, so that is the secret. Understand? Next slide. So he goes on, once you have dropped the mind, your walk itself becomes lighter. You basically float. This is because a big load has been taken off you. Your mind is the biggest load. Understand? Once it's dropped, just imagine how much lighter you will look and feel. I tell you, walking lightly without the mind is the greatest gift which you can give to existence. Just think, the earth is carrying so much weight, all this weight of the mind and these people. So that is why Mother Earth is considered to be most patient. She's holding all our weight in our mind. She carries all the weight day and night. Can you imagine when you walk, you pound on her and she's feeling your weight because of your heaviness and all your suffering or your mind. So the minute you walk without your identity, understand, you have made yourself so light, and therefore you become the greatest gift to Mother Earth. She's waiting for you to offload so that she can feel the lightness in your being. Until you have found the inner guide, the master is needed. You need a master to lead you to the inner guru. Your inner guru is how the outer guru makes you discover. He is the guide who appears to be outside, but in reality, he is inside. He goes on pulling us within ourselves to become aware of just one glimpse of the divine, the inner guide. And having this one glimpse is enough. It will throw you back to yourself. So that is the beauty. Next slide. So the master is here to tell you what you're not listening to. Only because you're not listening within, it must be told from outside. Because we don't want to listen inside, we're too noisy and all the mind is yapping away. So he has to tell you from outside. It is always easier to listen from outside than listen to the inside, because the mind can relate with the outside. Your mind knows only that. So until the time comes when you're fully pushed within yourself, you're able to sit with yourself, the master will only appear to you as a form from outside, from the external. When you surrender to the master, you're doing nothing more than surrendering to the guide inside. The master is only a mirror of yourself. He reflects you. So surrender needs your strength. You need to be strong, very inner strength. then it is not the strength which you think you know. It is the strength of the soul, the maturity of the soul, the will of the soul. It needs complete certainty. The master give you this strength. Okay? The master give you the encouragement. He inspires you to continue to seek and then to go on with this surrender and journey. Next slide. So when you decide strongly to be around me, along with the strength you get, the stamina, not of the body, but of your will. Nothing from outside can shatter you, shake you anymore. If this is not there, you can simply run around me, but you will not be able to be around me. Okay? To be around me, you need intense maturity. This is the key word, intense maturity. But to run around me, just the instruction is enough. You run around like a horse, but don't be a horse, okay? But I don't need you all around to run around me. Horses are more than enough for that. I want all of you to develop this intensity and stamina. And the moment I've said this, the next very moment is simply enough for you to catch the flame that he's radiating, and the flame will be lit within you. Actually, the very next moment is too much. This moment is enough. Simply catch and hold of it. Nothing else is needed. Okay? So let you understand, by surrender, I do not mean for you to surrender to me. Surrender means letting go of everything and place it before existence. You only use the master as a tool for your surrendering. So if you have really surrendered to the master, then you have surrendered to the existence. And when you have surrendered to the truest sense, you are enlightened. After all, masters are the ones who have surrendered to existence. So completely, that the very body is an expression of the existence. That's why Swamiji said, inside him is empty. Understand? Next slide. Okay, so here's the next question from the third seeker. Are you all tracking with me? Now that you understand what is surrender now? Yes? So here comes another disciple. He said, tell Swamiji that he feels he has not surrendered. Now he understands what surrender is. He said, I haven't surrendered, even though he has been with the master for so long. Because of this, he feels it's time for him to leave. I'm going to leave because I'm not surrendered. Okay. This is what the Guru says. Come on. Listen now. Just keep that slide there. He said, actually, because you're feeling this way, the possibility to surrender is even greater. This is a good news. You see, you have just given up. But there is still one thing that is stopping you. You're still fighting. You have still not fully given up. The fact that you want to leave means two things. That you are letting go, but at the same time you're fighting. Letting go, fighting, letting go, fighting. You're in the dilemma. So the only reason you're waging this battle within you is because of deep within you, the desire to surrender is there. You want to surrender, but you're not able to. You're frustrated that simply don't feel the need to wait anymore. Okay, he said the moment you're feeling frustrated, you don't need to wait. But this is the reason why your surrender is not total. It is clouded by all sort of confusion and impatience. So you need to let this be clear. There's no need for you to leave, Swamiji said. By leaving, you only missed. You simply missed. To be with the master is the greatest blessing. Just understand this deeply, because over and above this, I cannot force you to be with me. Ultimately, it is your own decision. So people always think that living around a master is only waking up to the morning, doing meditation, etc. Understand, being with a master means to go through all the ego's hurdles. Okay, The master will go on churning you through different ways until you finally churn down to nothing. You keep on chiseling you, meaning there will be no separate identity of yourself, just a merger with the divine, with the source. There are few guys who feel happy only in disagreement with me. Some to say it is okay to say no to me once a while. It gives some juice to the whole fruit. Actually, if you continue say no or yes, will soon come, and that deep disagreement and agreement will come. This happens with everything. If you are strongly, for something, the complete opposite is bound to come out at some point in time. So don't be bothered about your disagreement. It's all right. Even if it is a small corner agrees with me, that is enough. I will move deeper and penetrate you further. So when you first come to me, your surrender cannot be total. You cannot even be called surrender. But slowly, very slowly, it grows in you. You begin to surrender more and more every day. The beauty of surrender is that you will never be aware of what is happening to you. You will simply happen within your knowledge, and you will simply happen without your knowledge, and you will take its own course. So you won't know. You'll be taken by surprise. So as you begin to understand me, it becomes even more possible. The minute you begin to understand yourself, it has become possible. As time goes by, you begin to understand that the object to which you are surrendering is nothing but yourself. At the end of the day, you will realize that wherever you're surrendering the object, which is the master, is nothing but yourself. You understand that by surrendering, you will not lose your individuality. You will only gain it. Okay, so this is the so-called the catch that you need to see. I'm not telling you to drop your material things. The whole idea is that even if I tell you to drop all the things you have ever known, you will not think twice. You will just do it. This is what surrendering is all about. But in order to trust, the mind has to drop you. Because as long as your mind is there, you will keep filling your head with unnecessary thoughts. So when it drops, it has to happen. What has to happen will happen. Okay? So that is the deeper insights about surrender. Let's go to the next slide, a Zen story. Okay, here's a Zen story. A professor and a Zen master. So listen. One day, a famous professor approached a great Zen master. The master's name is called Nansen, to seek some philosophical advice. The master lived in a cottage in a forest, and the professor had to walk a long way to meet him. So when he finally reached the cottage, the master was boiling water to make tea. You know how Zen master loved to drink tea. So the professor's head was full of questions for this Nansen, this master. He began asking them right away. Then the master said, "Wait, let us have tea first," he said to this professor. But the professor was too impatient. Not only did he want the questions answered, he also wanted to flaunt his knowledge. Once again, another like a Vedanta is trying to show off his knowledge to this master, Zen master. So when Nansen brewed the tea, the professor continued to talk about his theory, the philosophy, asking Nansen's opinion and giving his own advice also. Okay, so next slide. Finally, Nansen finished making the tea. He brought the teapot with 2 empty cups and sat down one cup before the professor. "When will you answer my question, master?" He was getting impatient. "There's so much I have to learn from you," exclaimed the professor. So Nansen started silently pouring the tea into the professor's cup. So he's pouring the tea. He poured and poured and poured until the cup was overflowing. Still, he continued to pour to the same teacup. So the Zen master is known to do some odd things, but this is just too much. So the cup was overflowing. Okay? So this professor could not take it anymore. He said, Master, what are you doing? Can't you see the cup is already full? It cannot hold any more tea. It's already full, cried the professor. So Nanzen smiled and replied, Is that so? So are you. So Zen masters usually speak in riddles. Understand, they are very, very humorous and very intelligent beings, so they speak in riddles. So the professor understood immediately what he meant. And from that day, he became his disciple. When you're full, how can I teach you? So empty yourself first. That's what the message is. So here's another thing that you need to understand. He said, never take the master's word for granted. One more thing, never take the master's words for granted. He tells you what to do. He tells you to do something, simply drop everything and do it immediately. Only then the transformation will happen. But if you take your time and do not act immediately, be sure that transformation will be delayed, postponed. You simply miss the moment. So when he gives you some instruction, simply do it. You shouldn't wait a while and think about it, ponder about it, stew on it. By the time you finish doing, you missed it. Simply do it right away. Otherwise, you will miss it. Stop thinking. The thinking process is the culprit for delaying. Your very enlightenment, which is why I tell you to drop your mind. If you simply follow the instruction intensely, you will be pushed back into your being and you will be transformed. Next slide. So the job of the master on the disciple. What is the job? In the master-disciple relationship, the disciple will think that the master is having all the fun and putting the disciples to work. But you don't know. He has to make you feel, he has to make you trust him and look at him as a guide. At the same time, make you feel that you have the freedom. He has to pamper you. He has to, at the same time, make you stand independently. The master has to do all the magical work, all the possible ways. Understand? He's doing the hard work. If you try to understand, you're simply confused. Don't ever attempt that. It is not needed also. Once you have understood what surrender is, the relationship itself will change. The master will help you to be independent. Actually, once you have surrendered, anything that the master says will simply feel possible. If he tells you to be independent, you won't even need to try. It will simply happen. It just happened by his grace because you have surrendered. Next slide. So here's an incident from Mahabharata. Okay, Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, the enlightened being, was with a few devotees when he looked at the sky and said, "See the white crow." And there's no white crow, right? Everyone said he could see a black crow. Everyone except Arjuna. Arjuna said, "I could see the white crow." And then Krishna turned and said, "Fool, there is only black crow. What are you talking about?" Okay. Arjuna replied, "Krishna, when you say it was a white crow, I saw it as a white crow." So when Krishna said there was a white crow, Arjuna simply saw it as a white crow. Even if it is completely illogical, the disciple trusted the master's words. This is because Arjuna did not surrender only to the intellect. He had surrendered his senses as well, the five senses. So whatever the words uttered by Krishna, he just saw as it is. The eyes just saw is white crow. He had the clear understanding that whatever Krishna had said was the truth. And it was not that he has become dumb. No, his sense of surrender is Krishna was so deep that his intelligence is simply in tune with the master and his words. That is, there was no scope for the mind to step in, So his very senses has surrendered. See, Swamiji said the greatest surrender is even surrendering with your senses. You surrender the senses. First, you surrender your intellect, right? He said the deepest surrender is surrendering even your senses. Okay, so that is the highest form of surrender, which is even your senses. Next. So understand, the master gives you assurance. See, the master gives you the assurance that enlightenment will happen. And you can feel that it has happened in him. When you see the master, he is already enlightened. You can feel it. You can smell that there is something different about him. He is not like any other ordinary human being you see on in society. This understanding itself will keep the flame alive within you. The moment you have stepped on this path, there will be many ups and downs. Be very sure the master is here to make you feel the ups and downs. The journey is not always smooth. It will not be a smooth ride. There'll be like a roller coaster ride. There will be stones, pebbles, ditches along the way. Sometimes you fall, you trip on the pebble or fall into the ditches, but there will be many times you will feel as if you're just aiming for something that is mere illusion, because the mind will create the doubt. You will feel that you're wasting your time here and you would have done better in society. Okay, this is only by looking at the master. It is only by looking at master, watching his magical body language, listening to his words, absorbing the silence that he radiates while he's talking, that the certainty of the whole thing will keep flowing in you. So right when you are completely hopeless and feel that whole thing is just a waste, the master will give you the confidence once again, and he will fire you up again, and you again feeling, it's possible. From nowhere, you will get the surge of inspiration about the whole thing. Next slide. You'll see the old personality which you have acquired is very strong. This is because you have been associating yourself with it for so long. So now you must consciously watch yourself. You must consciously make an effort not to encourage your old personality. When you can do this, your real individuality will be uncovered. It will be revealed to you. You must try to operate only from the individuality. This can only happen if you're fully aware of yourself. Actually, the best way to start associating yourself with this individuality is to forget that you are an identity. Flow with whatever the masters tell you to do. Just disappear into the work and allow the master to work on you. It will happen. Allowing the master to work through you is a blessing that does not happen to everyone. Understand? When you come to the master, when he start working on you, this is the greatest blessing, which you have prayed, yearned for many, many births. When you flow with things, allowing the master to work on you, you will see that every new moment takes care of itself. You don't need to do anything. Understand? Yes. Next slide. Anandita, can you take a screen capture? Okay. So here there are two ways a person can live his life. One way is to live moment to moment, and the other is to live by connecting with the past, present, future, and take decision based on that. Okay. The moment you have understood surrender, everything drops from you. Then there is no past, there's no future, there's only moment. This is only possible. You can only live in the present when you have surrendered. Okay. One of the biggest problems is we go on living in the past. People are stuck in the past. I can tell you, at least 90% of people in the society are stuck in the past, and they're suffering. Okay, they create diseases and disorder because they're stuck in the past. So the past is so alive that the present is forgotten. They're not in the moment. Through your review of the past and planning is so-called organization, you miss the cream that is the present. If you can live in the now, present moment, you will no longer decide anything. Your attitude of surrender to the moment will cause decision to happen spontaneously. You just live at the moment. When you have understood the power of being in the now, you will become independent, intelligent automatically. There's an innate intelligence just radiating through you. You will not depend on the master, on him anymore. The master is there only to give you guidance, not support. From him, you uncover your own individuality. That's a state you start radiating him. Understand? Next slide. Wow, right? One more thing, the master is here to give you understanding, but such an understanding will take root in you only when deep confusion also happens. When the confusion becomes so deep, you feel you can't do anything anymore, the understanding starts happening. It's like a yeah, yeah, and then after that it start happening. Sometimes the person think he has surrendered and that there is no more step to take towards the master. He will feel that he has gone as deep as he can possibly go. Understand, this is pure delusion. The moment you have really surrendered, you are enlightened. Until then, it is only creating the space for it to happen. It can only create the space for the flowering to happen, the lending of that energy to happen. Next slide. So here's another seeker. I think this is the last seeker, sorry. A devotee tells Swamiji that when she meets him, she does not understand why he has to explain everything to him. If you already know everything, why you need me to tell you about my problems, huh? So this devotee was just complaining. Okay, so here's the answer to this devotee. It says, see, I understand your problem. That is different, but you must first understand your problem yourself, right? I make you explain to me only because I want you to understand. I can see where the problem lies and tell you, but this is no point in it at all. If I tell you, the experience and understanding will not happen in you. Again, you will follow because I'm telling you. Most of the time, you suffer because you do not know exactly what you're suffering or what your suffering is. Not only that, when I ask you to verbalize your problem, you may be cunningly hiding the real suffering and verbalize it differently outside. You will not even be ready to face your problem courageously. Understand? This is where the mind plays the game. So when I forcibly make you verbalize it in front of me, when I start cross-questioning you and tiring you, I make the real reason for suffering come out of you. Many times you will see that if you are open to me when you talk to me about your suffering, you will get clarity at a level you cannot even imagine. You might have come to me with some reason, but as you open up to me, you will see that the reasons are entirely different, that you are hiding under a complete hypocritical layer. So the master unveiled that hypocritical layer in you. The moment you say, I know everything, although you might sound like having a surrendering attitude, be clear, you're actually escaping from the truth yourself. You need courage to open up in front of you. If you're really interested in getting out of your problem, you will be like an open book in front of me. I will then have no difficulty in evaluating your problem, and if you hold back, it will become difficult for me. It all depends on you. Okay, so that is good. I think that's the last slide. So any question? I think this is a very, very thorough way of answering the whole question about surrender. This chapter is all about surrender. Swamiji covered very in depth about how to surrender. So I think we're gone past time. We need to wrap up now. Next slide. So just a reminder, please come and join the Paramashivam home. Next slide, Anandata. Just let me finish the couple of slides. So a reminder to come for the Paramashivam home, which is happening. We started at 3rd of May. So now do attend as well, whether you're at level 1, 2, 3, and you'll come for the darshan every morning for Singapore time is 7 p.m. Sorry, 7 a.m. IST. Okay. So thank you for all your participation. So do enrich more devotees to come for the next session. The next chapter is going to be interesting. How to move from head to the heart. Surrender, right? Now you know you need to surrender, right? Is to move from logic to the heart. Now he gives the direct instruction how to do it. Okay, so please come back in the next session to learn how to move from head to the heart. Okay, with that, I would like to conclude. Thank you. Let's conclude with the Puna mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sovam Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam Paramastu. Om